know that, Benji.
That's a lovely find. Trying to hit Camp Greer, trying to go over the top. Grinding all the way underneath. It's going to be a redemption opportunity, and it's a layout goal.
And then launches the blade. That's going to work. It's going to land just outside. Will Chevron let him in? What was that?
Great catch. Leaves her feet to make sure of it. What a fantastic left-handed catch.
Sits into the position. Underthrows, but over-corrected. Has options. Overthrows, and it's rescued anyway. Sometimes things just work out.
Oh my goodness, how did he catch that? Oh, so much separation, surely that's good. Full stretch layout. Gets the block. Boy down the line. Flissman catches the goal that wins Bristol another national title.
Getting so much joy in these small spaces. What are you supposed to do? Miraculous.
Welcome to Nottingham, the University of Nottingham, host site for UK Nationals 2025. Coverage brought to you on ULTI.TV. We are in the Open Division. Bristol taking on Alba. I'm Stefan Rapazzo alongside Benji Rees to bring the action. Benji, this one is poised to be a beauty.
There is so much on the line, even though it's only pool play. It's a brutal format at Nationals. Only the top 8 teams in the country in each division qualify. And from there, 2 pools of 4, you have to finish in the top 2 places in the pool if you want to come home with anything from it, be that a medal or, of course, be that a world qualification spot on the line. In the Open Division, there are 3 spots. The 2 finalists take 1 apiece, and then the 3rd place team grabs the other. But there's no recovery, there's no consolation. If you muck it up here, that's it. Those world streams are snuffed out. So for one of these 2 sides, given that Chevron are also in this pool, and they polished off Alba with relative ease this morning, I kind of feel that it's not technically, but it feels like a must-win game, especially. You know, you could have some 3-way tie weirdness, but why leave it down to chance? Put your best foot forward and snatch that opportunity.
Yeah, Bristol took care of Kapow this morning after a nice start by Kapow. And as mentioned, Chevy did really put it to Alba. These 2 are the 2 in the middle. Only the top 2 from each pool advance straight to semis for tomorrow. Getting into semis is job 1 to have a chance. As mentioned, 3 spots in the Open Division. Based on the way UK Nationals have gone historically, it's not too outlandish to assume that we're going to see Chevy and Clapham back in the final. Those 2 spots would appear to be accounted for, and so this is step 1 for, will it be Bristol? Will it be Alba to move their way through and have a chance at that 3rd WUCC spot?
Well, in the last 2 Worlds qualification cycles, we've had somewhat of an upset here at UK Nationals. 8 years ago, it was Devon who usurped fire to take the last UK spot in the Open Division. Of course, Smog qualified 2 teams in the mixed division last time out as well, much to many people's surprise. And I think one of these sides will be hoping that maybe it's a bit not so much of an outside coming in to really pinch that bid, but these are 2 teams who will have their eyes firmly set on that world qualification spot. Of that, there is no doubt. Both qualified from their regionals. Obviously, Bristol coming out of the south, they took the 2nd place spot there. Alba finished 3rd in the north region, behind Chevron and behind Smog as well. And a fair few of these players would have matched up in the interim as well at the inaugural 4 Nations Ultimate Championship earlier in the month. Representing the various countries out there.
Wales, Scotland, Ireland, and England. That was a treat, a great new implement onto the ultimate calendar for the year. We look forward to seeing that. And we are underway with the first poll coming out of the hands of Alba, and an offside called. They are using every bit of the rule book right out the gates here.
Well, you may notice a couple of little green men on the sidelines. Your eyes do not deceive you. We have game advisors here at UK Nationals for the first time. We're training a little bit of training for the World's events, and also just to try and introduce it, especially in a World's qualifications year. It's something that you're going to have to get used to. So making sure teams are comfortable in working with game advisors and getting the game advisors some reps as well.
Like to see it. Oyama kicks things off, and Bristol get it to Mason. Mason to Oyama, upline chisel, fakes the forehand, now gives the backhand, gets around and through. Great throw, and Eddie Mason finishes the job. 1-0, Bristol holds.
Working it dominantly through that handler set there. It's a little bit of a little and large combination in that backfield. You've got Oyama, who's so explosive, got that first step quickness. And Mason's got that longer frame. He gives you a lot more threat, I think, of those around options. But he's also, when you've got that length, it's really easy to say, well, if you're going to key on me as a handler a little bit, we can push you out of that handling core further downfield. And look at the air bounce as well, because there is some wind here, it has to be said, in Nottingham, but doesn't show too much of it, executes it perfectly to lead Mason in stride for the score.
Nice start for the Rats from Bristol. Putting one on the board. Good chance for you to put one on that like button. We'll be reminding you throughout the game.
Do you know where the rat on the jersey comes from?
It is a Banksy rat, is that right?
It is, well, it is adapted, of course.
Right.
From a Banksy. As far as I'm aware, the original's not holding a Frisbee.
Right. Spray paint can.
Yes, maybe a bunch of flowers, I can't remember.
Let us know in the chats if you know.
I'll be honest, I'm not quite cool enough.
Nor I. I was happy enough to come up with Banksy. Alba get their first chance. Pull goes out of bounds, and Mackie will walk it to the spot. One of the chief organizers of the aforementioned Four Nations. Stewart and Mackie looking at a zone front out of the Rats. The Aussie, Henriksen, Mackie, and Bristol applying some pressure early, but Alba continuing to find completions. Stewart with the disc, back to Mackie.
This defensive setup makes sense for me from Bristol. It's quite a strong wind here, and if you can try and force this pass count up and really test the patience, not a bad strategy.
Mackie finds Jinx. Couple Aussies out there for the Scots. Fires up line. Beautiful throw by Mackie. Hits for the goal. Johnny Evans cashes in.
Interesting, because in that scenario, you'd probably see more of an outside-in backhand, as we saw with that leading Oyama pass to Mason. So that way you're taking it with the outside shoulder rather than the inside line you get with that flat flick. But the idea here is maybe it's a tiny, ever so slight bit of inside-out shape on it, and it's rather than coming back in there and potentially allowing the defender to close the gap, you're leading it again out to the space for them to chase down onto, and getting it out the hand quick and flat in these winds. You are going to need to keep these throws crisp and even.
Tell us a bit more about this weather, Benj. Like, the wind has been, is it fair to say, swirly? I feel most of the day it has been coming directly into our lenses, into our face. So far sideline to near sideline, but it's not blowing one way with consistency, changing up, and it has been getting stronger throughout.
It's one of those where certainly I think you're always aware that it's windy, but you're right that the strength of that wind will vary up and down, and you're seeing there in the flight of the pool that the wind just popping up and down slightly in the breeze.
So Bristol with their second chance to hold here into the hands of the goal scorer, Mason, to start things off. And then Oyama. Ooh, and the first turn of the game, an overthrow shooting for the sideline, goes over the head of Woodbridge Harris.
Taking away the deep options forcing them to try and work the underneath space, go laterally, and that's where they get the turn, the throw going into the wind.
Centered quickly right to the doorstep. Ennis finds the hole and slots it in. Max Hodes collects, and Alba break first.
There was not much of a window in there, but snuck it through that low release, trying not to show too much of it to the wind. Alba rocking and rolling. They're used to performing here at UK Nationals. They've made the final here at the Highfields Sports Complex before, so they are used to dealing with the various intricacies and nuances of the venue. Ennis just sneaking it in between 1, 2, 3 Bristol defenders in there. But he found that wonderful soft spot at the pocket of the front of the end zone, and Max Hodes gets the game's first break. Bristol down 1, Alba with a 2-1 lead. And even you might not necessarily have this as a big upset. These two teams feel pretty evenly matched, but we've seen some upsets in the offing here at UKU Nationals. Right in the very first game of the day, Sheffield Steel beat Heck in the mixed division, which was not on my bingo card, I have to admit.
Nor mine, but I will say we talked about it on the Shot for Goal podcast, and Noah seemed to have sniffed that one out. He had his finger on the pulse. That Sheffield Steel, we're going to have something special.
Steel very much a surprise Nationals qualifier as well. Newcastle Brown certainly the favourite to take that spot coming out of regionals, but Steel have made some handy additions in the close season.
Bristol again, far sideline. Oyama gets it, up line he goes. Mason, eyes back into the middle. Gatewood Wolf from the same spot finds Oyama. He leaps backwards into the goal, and Bristol respond with a hole a point later.
I'm not a fan of his lid, but I must say I've been impressed with his play, both in the little bits I've seen here today and, throughout the season, I guess, really, for Bristol. Gabe Gatewood Wolf has been a little bit of a spark plug for them. And you need players who constantly want the disc and try and make things happen. They're not afraid to play confidently, take shots when they think they're on, demand the disc. This, however, is nothing too fancy. Lord just beaten to that open side, and Oyama with the presence of mind for the little back hop into the end zone for the score.
Harry Mason not cleated up, but indeed wearing some eye spotting pants, easy to spot. Molly Wedge, fresh off an incredible World Games campaign with Canada, bringing home a silver medal, on the sideline coaching for the Rats too. So they've got at least 2 parts of the staff working, doing everything they can, knowing how important this tournament is.
Yeah, it became just the second player to represent 2 different nations at the World Games after
the Canadian, the coach of Germany. Goodness gracious,
yes.
Why is it escaping my brain? Tell us in the chat, Benji, you're going to get there first. I will get there in just a second.
That's all right.
Played for
I'll leave it hanging for you, Steph.
Fury and Canada and Traffic. Goodness gracious. Not Allison Walker. Anyhow, back to this game. Alba with the disc. Henriksen. Sent deep, hung up, jinxed the target, but Juma takes it away.
Don't like that throw, way too much sit, and in this wind, it's going to loft that up and invite defenders underneath it. This time, Juma sprung highest. It looks like there's a stoppage.
A stoppage indeed. Sam Cam had the disc. I think it's going to go back at least to him. Not sure if I see the infraction.
Yeah, haven't seen any hand signals.
And the deep shot sent. Juma the target. Can he do it on both ends? So far, yes. Leading throw over 1, not the second. Backup plan is there, and they are on the board. Lloyd Thomas finishes the job, and Bristol break back.
Yeah, they put Juma to work there. Picked off the D at one end, and then the other. A line drive of a throw, really, from Sam Cameron. Didn't put too much air on it. It was relatively flat, had a bit of height on it as well, so it could get over any intermediate traffic. But he just drives it. Lovely release. Juma pinpoints it. There's a defender in coverage who puts a little bit of pressure, not enough from Evans. Parnell gets caught a little bit underneath of it, but thankfully for the Rats, Thomas is there to spare his blushes. And Bristol break back at the first opportunity. And they go back in front 3-2.
Let's go then, Rats! Let's see the chase here! Yes, let's go!
And with the next pull, Alba starts center of their end zone. Mickael fires one to the far side. And trying to navigate this Bristol zone, Henriksson and Delaney. Stoppage.
Yeah, I see it. It felt like he was setting up for a throw and go and then never released it. And there is a clear step in there. Not sure how much effect it had, but it is a travel.
Henriksson with the push off right back to Mickael. Clears over Delaney and Mickael exchange. Now a gainer finds Jinx. That'll compromise parts of the zone, but that bid will not be compromised. Ellis Cockcroft takes it away and gives a chance to break for the Rats. Underneath, and the big shot sent. Cockcroft sends it hanging back of the end zone. The foot is down. Richardson, is he in? My first thought was yes. Let's see what these guys come to.
Yeah, there's a foul called on the contact there as well from Per Henriksson. I think if they agree that that's a strip, I think his first contact point is in bounds, that left foot. It's a big left boot, but I think it does come down before that back line.
Benji, while they're working this up, I finally remembered the name. Here, let's have another look here first. Oh, it's very close. He's got big feet.
He
Maybe
does have
that
big
toe
feet.
is, that is very, very close.
I think the discussion is not necessarily about whether he's in or out, but whether it's a foul or not.
Alex Snyder, Benji.
It was Alex Snyder, very good.
I can't believe that name evaded me. Who Molly Wedge joins as being the only ones to play for 2 countries in the World Games. I do believe Alex Snyder won gold both times. So still a small leg up. More work to do for Molly Wedge.
And was part of the Germany coaching and selection setup this time around as well. They are going to say that turnover stands, so whether that's because debate of whether he was in bounds or not, or whether because they decided that actually the defender got there first, the result is the turnover.
Alba happy to take that one, see if they can preserve a hold here after being broken. Stuart Jinx goes to Delaney, finds a little bit of room through the middle there. Bowman spins and finds Henriksson. Henriksson opens the arm. This is defended. Oh, and a chance still, but knocked away. Bristol get the benefit.
Ellis Cockcroft again, who has found himself in the right place at the right time. Bristol transitioned from the zone into a one-on-one coverage. The backside defender doesn't quite close quickly enough, but it doesn't matter because Ellis Cockcroft had the read on it.
Underneath by Capelli. And back to Ellis Cockcroft. He goes underneath to Ellis. Capelli with a low release, and that one not handled by Ellis Cockcroft, picked up quickly by Mickael. Mickael with a forehand. Henriksson shows and then goes to the sideline. on a swing. Delaney and Mickael exchange again. Delaney pops one over. Jinx pulls it out of the sky. Henriksson bit on the hip by Ellis. Jinx shows a hammer look. Now waits. Mickael comes in. There was a bid in the lane there, but it does stay in the hands of Henriksson. He tries to isolate, then switches over to Delaney. Delaney backhand low, but well caught by Stewart. He's back to his feet quick and led forward. Hurley to Mickael. Mickael with a backhand. Henriksson and Mickael exchange in the red zone. The around nearly in, meters away. Stewart finds the passageway, and Mickael and Alba level things up at 3.
They made it stick, but make no mistake, that was a real grind for Alba. Gave Bristol a couple of opportunities. The first, a deep shot that was well defended. The second, a slightly dicey throw into coverage. But when Alba got their third opportunity, they decided just to keep a lid on things and to get down and dirty and just work it slowly, grind those yards underneath, shelve the deep shot for a little bit, force Bristol to really defend those under spaces. And through that reset pattern and that final little hop, skip, and jump into the end zone, Alba make it work.
Got ourselves a game on our hands here, Benj. Firing on all cylinders.
And it's exactly what we expected. You know, these two teams so evenly matched.
And nearly 20 minutes into this one. Leveled. Oyama picks up, and Bristol take off once again. Zarod, and then the disc is sent by Mason, and that one does not connect. Alba with a break chance. Centered. Groves gets around. Lawrence fires, and that gets taken by the wind. You could see the bounce in the flight. Gave it that extra 10 meters and made it uncatchable. And a lot of contact on that one, but Mason does collect, leads Oyama. Had power position for a split second, but didn't make the throw, goes back. Ooh, and you see the wind playing again. Gatewood Wolf does get the completion, but the next throw touches turf.
Yeah, too casual from Allen after that high grab. That big leading pass to Oyama, I thought it was pretty greedy, but all of the Alba players seem to be locked in on their matchup. If someone had their head up a little bit more, it felt like there was more than enough opportunity to come in and get a block on it.
Take a snack. Alba have it back. McDermott gets it all the way across to Grimmer. Grimmer fires up line. Gets the take from McNeil. McNeil shoots hard into the guts of Lawrence. Lawrence waits, then goes up line, citing McNeil, but Gatewood Wolf takes it away, shoots the gap, Benji.
All the traffic was down this near sideline. It's so difficult to access that far side with this wind. And they hung the throw to the end zone too much. Gatewood Wolf snuck in, and now they're putting it deep for Allen, who has position and catches.
On the goal line or 5 meters out, Gatewood Wolf gets it back. Allen led in and puts the foot down. Bristol scream back the other way and make it 4-3.
Giving Alba chances, neither of these sides have been clean, which is probably what you'd expect given the conditions and given how tight these two teams seem to be matched. They met twice at the EUCS Summer Tour up in Stirling. And on those 2 occasions they met, once in the pool and once in the bracket, Bristol won both games 12-11. So the Rats maybe with a little bit of the wood over their opponents.
Whoa, that is a great D by Gatewood Wolf.
I don't think McNeil quite realised how close Gatewood was to closing that. Didn't go up perhaps as strongly as he could have.
It didn't show the required urgency. Gatewood Wolf looking very good, finishing things off there. A little bit of double happiness. And did we ever come up with a word for that? The double happiness when it's the block and the assist?
See, I still think that is a double happiness, but I think a bookend specifically has to be the block and the score.
Right.
Like, every bookends is a double happiness, but I don't think every double happiness is a bookends, if that makes sense.
I hear what you're saying, Bango. Henriksen delivers for Delaney. And straight back, and now up the line. Evans. Jinx screaming up the line, but he goes back to Mackey. Now finds Jinx.
The wind is whipping up again here, Steph.
Sure is. Jinx winds up, sends Mackey sighted, well put disc. Mackey meters out, puts behind, and led to the corner for the goal. Harry Bowman finishes the point. Lock things up at 4s.
I'm not quite sure how Alba find the deep shot through all the traffic there, because it was not very open, but it was open enough with that curve of the disc to take it around the defender. Jinx with a low release to try and not let the wind affect it. The blade doesn't come down too severely, but there's clearly some angle on it. And it leaves the defender a little bit unsighted. And then the lead pass, it's just a question of the chase into the end zone. Whether it stays up for long enough, and it was easy for Bowman in the end.
Well, I don't know how you could be watching this and not like what you're seeing. And so I'll make the assumption that you do indeed like it. And if that is the case, go ahead and show how much you like it by hitting that like button. Make sure you are a subscriber with us. We assume you are, but hit that bell if you're not, if it's the first time watching.
All 8 open division teams in action in this game slot. So we're tied at 4 apiece here. In the kind of the matching game in the opposite pool, so the 2 middle seeds going up against each other. Smog have a 4-3 lead on Smashed. Chevy have raced out to a 7-2 lead over Kapow, and Clapham have the same scoreline, 7-2 over Leeds.
And a deep throw early in the sequence, collected by Allen. Allen quickly puts the pivot foot down and finds Will Jeffrey for the goal. Efficient offense for Bristol.
Yeah, Route 1 direct. When it works, why bother playing it around? Just bang it to the big guy. And I understand that Alba might be saying, hey, if you want to take that on in these conditions, go ahead, be my guest. But I still think you need to make it tougher on their favoured target. Someone like Chris Allen, who is such a reliable field stretcher for the Rats. He's got to be the player that you have more of a concerted effort to push towards the disc. You'd certainly much rather have him in the handler space than churning up yards downfield.
Yeah, a tough one to give up the deep shots in this wind, but it is, you're probably going to allow that more often than not, as you said, Benji. You're not going to be able to get away with those deep shots all game long, but it will stretch the defense out, thin them out, insist that they have to play behind, and potentially open up more room for the unders. Nice attack to take that disc, but it does bobble off the hand. Sam Cam on the pickup. Warnick Break chance for Bristol. That one run forward. Thomas pops it in. And Kuba collects for Bristol. That's a break.
Yeah, extending their advantage a little bit here. Those throws going into the wind, so when you're throwing towards that far sideline, those can be perilous, and you show the slightest bit of edge, the wind is more than happy to make that flutter and further accentuate that angle. It hits his palm, really.
Yeah.
He tries to go up and pluck it one-handed, and his disc's not quite where he thinks he is, and he just gets the full face of the disc on his hand. And then the leader to Thomas, and all Thomas has to do is just wait. The cut from Kuba drags the defender all the way over towards that far sideline, and that creates the little seam on the bounce back to just feed it through for the Bristol score and the 6-4 lead.
Yeah, I really did think that Stewart had that catch. I thought he attacked it well, went up and high-pointed it, but he did get the top side of the disc in the end when watching that replay. And an unfortunate error, a tough place to turn over. There's no good place to turn over. But Bristol were very quick and concise with their capitalization.
You say there's no good place to turn over. I don't know. I've played some games in even stronger conditions than this, and there are some very good places to turn over. And it's right down the other end of the pitch.
It's still not a good place. Jinx on the chase, and Alba strike back with a deep shot of their own and show a little bit of offensive efficiency by banging it from one end to the other.
That's much more like it. I was going to say for the Scots. Obviously, Jinx is a naturalised Scot. He's from, I was going to say your part of the world, one of your parts of the world.
Australia, mate. He's a Brisbaneite.
And to quote another Australian, Greenie, he's a good-looking rooster as well. he's a big man, and he covers the grass so quickly, and they are more than happy to use that to send him deep. It's a great throw from Per Henriksson, you have to say, because this is right in stride for Jinx. He closes off that angle a little bit and then can just track it as it fades away back into the center of the field. Brilliant throw.
That is an Aussie to Aussie connection then.
Henriksson an Aussie as well.
Yeah, he came and introduced himself to me prior to the game, said he's roommates with Max Halden over in Melbourne, and to say hi on his behalf and to introduce himself.
Oh, lovely.
A lovely young man. Very pleasant.
Yeah, Alba have got a couple of reinforcements. Haven't necessarily seen so much of Joost Peters as well, but he's based obviously across the Irish Sea.
There's a couple, and I think Henriksson and Peters are playing for, and we got a foul called here, Ranelagh for the season. We may well have a replay on this. Let's have a look. Here it comes.
Yeah, from that angle I can't see anything, but that doesn't mean there wasn't anything. It just means that Sweeney's back's in the way. We do have game advisors, of course.
Here's another replay.
On my first viewing, I must admit I didn't see the contact.
I thought it was tidy enough on my first viewing to, oh, that's, the more I see that, the more I think it's tidy.
It is going to be an accepted foul, though, as the result.
And Mason sends deep, looking for Oyama. The help defense is there, and the throw itself goes out of bounds, giving nobody a chance.
I think that's one of those where subconsciously you feel like you've got a second life, and they really tried to press that advantage perhaps a little bit too strongly. That edge, with this wind, it's always going to go out of this near sideline. But this is the sideline where you'd want Alba to pick it up, because it's going to be so hard to get back into the center of the pitch.
And the wind picking up as Alba do complete an upliner. And then Mackey sends deep, and that's never in. So that'll be coming all the way back to the point of exit. Maybe 3-4 meters. up the field.
That is the risk. If you're trying to shoot down the trap sideline, you need to really over-accentuate that edge to get it back in bounds. Mason will get a chance to bring it in from the sideline.
Mason to Allen. Allen gets Gatewood Wolf. And Mason inside the throw, not quite. Shoveled almost backwards for goal. I'm not sure how they worked that out, but they do indeed, and that is another one. Bradshaw finds Allen, and the Rats take it to 7.
They've got a huge end zone to play with, but sometimes, in these conditions, you just need to jam it in the jam hole, Steph. You can't get too fancy about it. Doing a very good job there, making a clear effort nice and early of getting it off the line, getting it into the center of the pitch and giving yourself more width to play with, taking advantage of Alba defenders, not keeping an eye on the throw, and it gives those little windows to sneak those inside passes through because it's so tight, that angle, the lane that you have to throw into. If the defender sees it, they can come across in cover, but if they don't have eyes on the disc, you can get it out into space and catch it before the defender can close, and then the simplest of popped backhands into the end zone for Allen to score, and Bristol come within one of the half. Despite the wind, it's been played at a pretty reasonable pace.
Yeah, reasonable pace. They're scoring, and tidy enough too. We haven't seen too many throws taken away completely by the wind. Yes, one or two. There's been a few that the wind has wreaked havoc with, but for the conditions, it's been tidy. Here comes Alba, getting to the point where these holds are must scores. Eriksson fires one into the middle for Jinx. Jinx turns and shoots, and it is a dime, but not quite in. Evans from the goal line. Mackey quarterbacking the situation. Waits for Eriksson. There's a touch, and that's enough to bounce it away. No call. Play on, Bristol ball. Sam Cam sends, looking for Juma. 2 in the neighborhood, but Juma won't be denied. Goes up biggest. Lead throw, Ellis Cockcroft has it, still not in. Dumps back, Warnick floats one to the back corner. Bit of contact coming down. And an out call. I think I saw that too. Maybe force out, though, because of the contact. I'm not sure about this one, Benji. What's your initial take before we get a replay?
My initial instinct was in, I have to say. I'm also, to be honest, I'm not sure about the decision to throw it in the first place.
Here it is. So up. There is contact. I still think in, even with the contact.
Yeah, I think that was my impression. The left foot came down and it was inbounds. Although, yes, I agree that he certainly would have had grounds for a force out regardless. But Bristol, maybe not the best option on that final scoring pass. You've got the receiver coming towards it. It's going to invite the defender. We know how tough it is on the sideline as well. They measured it well. Juma's been such a big target for them deep after the turn. 2 defenders, often bigger defenders in coverage, but he pinpoints it so well. And Bristol sitting pretty with an 8-5 halftime lead, Steph.
Sitting pretty indeed. This, no time to count chickens here. They've got a nice lead, but Alba's been putting up a formidable opposition here. They're going to need a fiery halftime speech to get themselves back in it, and we will see how that all plays out in the second half. We'll take a short break right now and come back for second half action after these kind words.
always on the move? You can keep up to date with ULTI.TV on all of our social media channels. Like, follow, subscribe, share us with a friend, or send us a message just to say hey. Thank you for supporting us in our mission to grow Ultimate everywhere.
Oh my goodness. That is unbelievable. And traded the net and made fun.
That was absolutely incredible.
Eight 5 Bristol with a nice lead. First half action against Alba. UK Nationals pool play in an all-important 2 versus 3 game. We mentioned it off the top, Benji, but this could be not the game to go to Worlds, but the game to go to semis, which puts them in their only chance to get a slot to Worlds.
Yeah, it's not quite a game to go. But you can't get to the game to go unless you win this game to go.
I mean, I'd say for Alba with a loss against Chevy already and Bristol coming in with a win over Kapow, this is a must-win or those Worlds' dreams are shattered. Working it through the middle.
I mean,
for Alba.
For Alba, you're right. If they don't win this, they are out.
That's it. Out. They will be playing for the bottom against Kapow, and that will leave Bristol and Chevy to play for the top. Alba working it through the zone. Harry Bowman goes around. Nice catch by McNeil to keep it alive after a bobble. Henriksen. Goes to center. Delaney. Surveys and then gives a unorthodox floaty backhand that gets smacked away by Sam Cameron.
Yeah, he was zeroed in downfield, never really turned to activate that reset option.
Sam Cam hands up, wondering where his options are, then finds Ellis Cockcroft on the sideline, who gets a big gainer to Kuba. Kuba leads, Sam Cam puts the right hand down with a disc in it. Cameron. Back to center, Warnick. Ellis Cockcroft. Shows the hammer for just a moment. Now backhands forward, chiseling for small meters. Thomas leads. Ellis Cockcroft goes into a pirouette as he scores the next goal. 9-5, Benji. What a way to make a living.
Exactly the way they would have wanted to start this second half, generating the turnover and then going right the way down the field. Didn't have a deep option to hammer it in, but instead we'll just work it underneath. Piecemeal our way down the field. Alba looking a little bit gassed, you have to say.
A little bit gassed defensively. You know, they got to be disappointed with their scoring chance here. The throw that really got away. This one here just went straight up into the elevator shaft, not giving any chance for Gregor Stewart. And again, as you mentioned, they did coming back the other way where they're step behind defensively, and Bristol making it look like their O-line was doing the work out there, but that was D-line conversion.
Alba with it all to do from this point forward. We've seen how good they can be when they're at their best. It's a question for them of trying to find a way to unlock that.
Alba from the spot. Mackey fires. There's tight defense all over, but Evans controls. Now Henriksson. He chisels around. Stewart to Henriksson. And back to Stewart. Working the near sideline. Looks off the up line and centers to Mackey. Mackey goes far side and Henriksson chisels forward again. Shoots one that floats. Trying to beat Juma, and Juma gets there at the last second over Sweeney, but we've got some conversation.
I have to say, I don't think Juma is the player I'd have been testing given his aptitude under those aerial discs.
He has been on today.
However, I can see Sweeney's point here. It does feel like he has position, and it wouldn't surprise me if there was contact from Juma as he went for the swat.
My initial impression was that Juma did have to go through the hand a little bit, and you see him accepting the foul. It was a great play. He did get up, but I believe the left arm had to kind of swipe through Sweeney's. So Sweeney will collect it on the goal line.
Still don't think it was a brilliant throwing option.
Sweeney looks to Mackey, pops it forward and in. And Alba do get the goal for their efforts there at 6-9. They're still down a triple.
Yeah, things still very much in the balance, I think. All it takes is, especially in conditions like this, an errant gust here, a strange drop there, and all of a sudden Alba are right back in it. But certainly I think Bristol very much favourites, given their recent form over Alba and given the position they are in this game. I mean, you know, trading up 3 or 4 points is, I'll be honest, if you told Bristol going into the half and coming out the half that this is the position they'd be in, I think they'd have taken it, you know, every day of the week.
Alba missing the services of Ronan Kelly, one of the GB under 24 open players. He had a score sky grab this morning when they played Chevron, but he did reach back and grab his hammy just before he went up and has been taken out. So one part of the roster disabled.
And if you've ever had a hamstring injury, you will know that if it's not good, that's it. You can't really nurse it back.
Deep shot, hangs, and perfectly read by Bradshaw. Waited out and even sucked into the defense before his last step to the right there to get the required separation to haul that one in and make it 10-6.
Got the throw up nice and early into space, and it allowed Bradshaw there, just to make sure the defender was always on the wrong shoulder on the backside, would have to come all the way around to get the block. And he creates the block nice and early as well, so he's not going up directly up. He's got a little bit of space to step into it as well, create the box out nice and early, and then catch it in front of you rather than having to go, you know, straight 90 degrees perpendicular to the floor.
Mason with another deep shot that connects. Of course, that's Eddie Mason, not Harry Mason.
Who
there
is out injured on the sideline. Harry, not Eddie, who is very much a factor in this game. No relation.
And the pull lands in, and Alba get things going. Mackey goes back to center. Delaney. Henriksson fires, looking for Jinx. Great spot, hits him. And that is another quick goal for Alba. More of that, please.
Offense is very much on top since the break, it feels. Just the one turnover which was punished. Otherwise, side's been scoring with relative ease. Certainly, even though it's more of a crosswind, I'd say, towards the camera, it feels like the end zone towards our right-hand side has been significantly easier to score in.
Yeah, that makes sense, Benji. And now, is that by virtue of the offensive pattern that we've been seeing, or is it by virtue of this swirly wind being a little bit more one direction towards that opposite end zone?
There's a little bit of dragging on it, but I think as well is when you're trying to work towards our left-handed end zone, if you want to get it onto the high sideline, a lot of the time you're trying to break them up with a flick into the wind, which feels like a much more difficult throw than breaking it around with a flat backhand into the breeze. And it feels like you can hit the options on that far side a lot more consistently.
Love to see all of the interaction in the chats. You guys are wonderful. A lot of Ranelagh in that chat, I'll say.
Shocker.
I recognize. Yeah, shocker to see the Irish lads there. More action here. Oyama goes over to Zared.
Look forward to seeing the Ranelagh lads at Euros. Oh, hang on a minute.
Oh, right. Forgot about that.
Maybe
but Bristol will be there.
Yep. Maybe we'll see them at E2CF.
Mason fires across. Hits Jeffrey. Allen leads for Mason, and that makes it 11-7. Bristol staying well out in front here.
The offense has really been clicking for the Rats in this second half. Feels like they've been able to really play their own game plan in the first half. I felt like there was a bit more of a back and forth between offense and defense since the break. It definitely feels like, you know, the teams have settled into the game, the style of defense their opponents are playing, got the measure of the conditions a little bit better as well, and been able to find these clean holds that they weren't getting consistently in the first stanza of this game. Certainly, if I'm Alba and I want to force my way back into it, firstly, we've got to put this 0 point in. We can't afford to let Bristol get further in front. But secondly, I think we need to start shuttling through our various defences again, just if anything, to get Bristol a little bit less sure of what they're doing. Throw that extra confusion, that wrinkle in.
As always, I like what you're saying, Benji. Every pull reception is a must score for Alba. And yes, time to throw the kitchen sink at. Bristol are scoring, maybe not at will. Uh-oh, wow. Mackey really had to work to keep that alive off a bobble. Delaney crosses the field for Stewart. Henriksen.
Bristol, firstly, clearly very much enjoying themselves on the sidelines. Secondly, this is what I like. This is what I was calling for Alba to do. Play something a little bit different defensively. They've got 3 up front and a diamonding downfield. And it's the man mountain of Capelli who is front and center of that zone and just makes it so difficult to throw through the middle of the field.
Alba do get some forward movement. Bowman goes back to Henriksen, and you hear the Bristol sideline explode as they melt back into match defense.
Yeah, that felt like a planned transition. We're at halfway. Here's the point where we move. We don't want to leave it too late.
Would you call that a transition? Fired deep, looking for McNeil. Defense steps in front, second chance, but it is plucked in. McNeil pulling the rabbit out of the hat for that.
Little spinneroonie there from McNeil. Not how we drew it up, but you've got to love the composure there, the focus, when it span off his hands to say, hey, this is still up. I'm going to have a second opportunity, and they certainly made the most of it. So what you have to do in these scenarios, when it's windy, you appreciate that it's always going to be an opportunity for second effort grabs. There was Mickael earlier in the point. That one was a disaster all of his own making. This one, it's good pressure from Ellis Cockcroft, but McNeil plucks it from in front of the defender. He does so well there.
Yeah, Ellis Cockcroft's not going to be happy to watch that one back. I mean, McNeil made an exceptional play, so he can't feel too bad about himself. But defensively, you know when you're in a situation like that, you're that close to having one and then a second touch. Those ones kind of hurt. They hurt a bit less when you get a 3-point lead still after the goal.
Yeah, Bristol still very much in the driver's seat.
Here's the pull. Oyama settles under and goes to Mason. Straight back to Oyama, meters upfield. Mason for centering. Pop pass to Gatewood Wolf. Oyama quickly, then goes around. Mason, Gatewood Wolf. Good looking offense by the Rats until that throw.
It never got going. I think that's the first turnover from Bristol in the second half.
So huge break chance for Alba. Huge in the sense that we're late in this game, second half, and how few they've had. Stuart Jinks winds up and sends deep. Has an opening. Can the chase get there? Indeed, but not in yet. Hodes hones in on his options, fires across and hits. Alba break in the second half and bring themselves within one.
Yeah, there's life in the danger zone. We did warn you that this game was not done. And Alba have found a way off the little bit of a freebie there from Gatewood Wolf. Underthrew it. Didn't give Oyama a chance and then going the other way. Alba on defense play a traditional D-line offense, I think, where they love to stretch it long, let some of their athletes go to work. And they were able to follow it up to close that gap. They are breathing down Bristol's necks now, Steph.
They sure are. They got them right where they want them. Maybe not quite.
No, I think they'd rather the scoreline be the other way, but now getting their first break after the interval.
I said within one. It is within two.
But it's better than within three.
Most certainly.
Timeout on the field here, Steph.
Well, with that timeout, we'll take a short break. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe while we're on the ads, and we'll be back with more actions right after this. (11-9). Bristol up a deuce on Alba. And a little bit of sideline banter with the Rats here.
I mean, this is what you'd expect, you know. They're in pole position to take that semi-final spot out of this pool, and they've still got to play Chevron next. They could still finish top of this pool.
I mean, they're looking good. I will say Chevron handled Alba with more ease than Bristol is doing right now. Chevron looked tidier this morning, but we all know it's not the way you play against common opponents that sets up the result when those two play one another. Anything can happen, and especially when it comes down to the crunch, when all the chips are on the line. So we will see later today, but Bristol have a big job to do to get to the end of this one and staying in front.
I'm going to assume this is a Yogiism. Anything can happen, and it usually does.
Sam Cameron, old Yogi Berra. Cameron goes up and a D takeaway. They did it once and converted. Can they do it on the second asking? Alba with the disc. Bowman gets Mackey. Mackey leads. And the throw, maybe too much touch on it for this kind of wind.
Yeah, Alba clearly sensed something. I think Bristol recognised the importance as well of really not letting Alba build up a head of steam, crossing Sam Cameron over to the O-line. Didn't quite have the desired effect. The tiniest tip on the mark from Mackey was all it needed to deviate it out of the path. Unfortunately for Alba, unable to do anything with it.
And the disc being retrieved. There it is, back in play. Mason will pick it up. Sweeney will put the mark on. Mason steps to the line, fires. Sam Cameron claps into it, then fires deep. Nobody home, McNeil, but they do get the desired field position if nothing else. Good roll.
You said there's no good turnover, Steph.
It's still not a good turnover, Benji. I mean, because it's a turnover, it's not good. But I hear what you're saying. Peters crosses the field. Fires upfield, hits Grimmer. And Grimmer fires and lets it simmer for another break. Johnny Evans runs under, visionary throw. And Alba within one. Bristol starting to sweat now in the second half.
When the throw went up, Evans looked over the wrong shoulder, and I wondered if the opportunity was lost, but actually it was perfectly judged and perfectly weighted, and it dropped right into his lap. Exactly what they would have wanted. And Alba are beginning to kick on now. The winds are strong, and they're firmly in the sails of the Scots. Only 1 point in it, Steph.
Benj, this is basically everything we expected.
I mean, we mentioned the two games they played at Summer Tour that both finished 12-11 to Bristol. Given that we've got over 20 minutes of game left, I'd be very surprised if this one finished 12-11.
Yes, I think we're going to get a couple more goals than that. We do have what looks like a timeout taken by Bristol right now.
And I get it. I think this is a good place for it. You've got a couple to use the game, and, you know, actually thinking, why not take the opportunity to burn it here and take the mental reset?
Well, with that, we will take a very short break, and we'll be back with the tail end of this barn burner. Bristol 11, Alba 10. Things tightening up at the tail end here from UK Nationals. Saturday pool play, 2 versus 3. And Bristol have the disc. Bradshaw opens up the arm, sends deep. He's spotted Allen, and Allen easily runs under that one. A quick response, not getting broke this time. Bristol pop one in, 12-10 now.
Yeah, showing the wisdom of taking the time out there, giving yourself that mental reset. You've got time to scheme something up off the pull. And so often it's been, can we find a way to get Chris Allen one-on-one going deep? Because if he can, and sometimes even if he can't, we're still going to put it. It worked a treat there. Often, when you've got the opportunity for these slower starts, I mean, look at the exaggerated edge on that. from Bradshaw. An outrageous throw, frankly, in this win. To get it to sit on that break side is ludicrous.
Yeah, Bradshaw, I don't know if you saw it, right before he threw that, put up the left arm shiver, gave himself a little bit of separation space there, which maybe breaches the some of the contact rules, but no call against it, and it was enough for him to be able to really lean into a perfect backhand huck.
But
and
especially
set up another goal.
Especially if you've got the timeout before that offensive point there. If I'm Alba, I'm thinking Bristol will try and get a pool play schemed up. So maybe we don't necessarily have to go into a full-on zone, but can we just find a way to junk up that first couple of throws and force them into a secondary, tertiary option?
Alba with another must-hold big bid, but it doesn't throw Mickael off. He does sight the deep. I think it's going too far. Prove me wrong. No, not this time.
Yeah, too far, both for the receiver and for the end zone. It just continued to speed all the way through and did not give Bowman a real chance at it. There was the big bid underneath as well from Richardson that I think maybe forced the throw to be slightly rushed.
And Bristol bring it back to the line. Dom Knight goes far side, fires one up the line to Parnell. Begging for the around, gets the up line, Woodbridge Harris. Around all the way, and that's right into the hands of Mickael.
Couple of defenders in the area going right the way cross field can be risky because there's just so much opportunity for a defender to flash in.
Evans to Mackey. Happy to have possession back with how much importance required on these holds if they're to give themselves a chance. Delaney and another one taken away.
Throw should never have gone because Mackey was so open. Woodbridge Harris just baiting it into the lane, and the throw was delivered right into him.
Back to middle, Ellis, Cockcroft, now Parnell. Shot deep and low, and it's being called down. That is a speculative one. Let's see if we get another look here.
My first instinct is that is absolutely down, and he put it on the hop.
I thought down as well initially. Let's see. Here we are. Here's the throw. Slowed down. And that is down. I hope that they come to the same resolution.
Yeah, with the assistance of Ollie Brown, who's the game advisor on the far side, that is the decision they come to.
Alba go to Henriksson. Henriksson finds space in the center. Evans. And quickly to Stewart. Around, now back to Henriksson. He hits Delaney in the middle. Third chance to hold. Mackey almost gets crossed up with his own player, Johnny Evans, but does run through and maintains possession. Into the backfields. Floats one around. Big gust of wind coming through amidst this point. Henriksson floats another to Mickael. And we have an injury called. Looks like Johnny Evans.
Yeah, he's walking gingerly. I'm not quite sure what happened, but evidently feels that he can't play any further part in this point at least. Maybe just get it off, get stretched, and hopefully he'll be good to go again. That's a big loss for Alba.
Stuart Jinks. No, it was going to be Stuart Jinks, but Adam Sweeney came in more confidently. He'll take the replacement. Bristol, have they reciprocated?
I haven't seen someone go off, but it would surprise me if they didn't make a change.
Mickael restarts the possession. Stewart fires across. Mackey runs into it. Far side, Stewart leads. Has Bowman. He takes the easy dump to Mackey. Mackey puts some shape on it around and just straight bobbled and dropped. Adam Sweeney came in as the replacement and shows he might be just a bit cold.
Bristol taking their second time out. I think they sense the need that if they get the break here, it does feel like game over. And this one, Sweeney's going to be having nightmares about this. He's so open, and I wonder if he's just thinking about who am I going to offload it to, where do I go next? And it's straight in and out.
Straight in and out, as we will be straight out for a moment. We'll be right back in. Hope you don't go anywhere. Stay locked on to ULTI.TV for the tail end of this one.
Always on the move? You can keep up to date with ULTI.TV on all of our social media channels. Like, follow, subscribe, share us with a friend, or send us a message just to say hey. Thank you for supporting us in our mission to grow Ultimate everywhere.
Bristol with a slim lead over Alba. They've come back with a couple breaks in the second half, maintaining a small lead, and this point has gone back and forth. Multiple turnovers. Bristol sensing the urgency, as noted by Benji. Benj, this could be the nail if they can finally work one in. Alba will obviously be leaving everything out there to prevent.
Yeah, they still have to close it out, but a 3-point lead this late in the game, needing only 2 more to win, you'd have to back Bristol from that point.
Centering. Parnell. And an immediate turn. A burn and turn there. Warnick with a straight drop.
The spacing of the offense wasn't good, and it allowed the defender to peel off and put pressure on.
McNeil from Mackey on the goal line. McNeil wants the goal, but goes back to Henriksen, one of the crowd favorites. Delaney, back to Henriksen. A poach is seen, but seen by Sam Cameron as well. He peels off and helps and gets the D back. Parnell.
Tried to get the little up and down, but nowhere near enough space for it, not with the long frame of Sam Cam in the way.
Dom Knight floats one up. Sam Cam is under and does handle it. Cameron fires deep, looking for Juma, but it's Henriksen in front. And the turns, oh goodness! There is a heck of a bid by Woodbridge Harris. And now a really short field for Bristol to slam the door shut.
We've seen some sloppy
Dom
turns.
Knight and miscommunication again, Benji.
There's another one. I was going to say for Bristol, that's a full-on takeaway, but Dom Knight surrenders it far too cheaply. I mean, this is superb from Woodbridge Harris.
Woo!
Full extension.
What a point we are amidst here. You get a sense that this could be the difference in the game. Stewart and Alba get it around and up now to McNeil. All the way across. Stewart sends deep. Can he beat? No, and another chance for a defensive bid for Woodbridge Harris. And he makes good with it, knocking it out of bounds.
Did it require the full length layout? Well, he wasn't gonna make sure, was he? I think losing his footing ever so slightly, so he has to fully commit. If he didn't, The receiver behind him would have been ready and waiting to collect it.
How
Another
many
opportunity
turnovers
for
are we
Bristol.
up to on this point bench?
Too many.
And add another and a never in. That was maybe, we've got a foul called on the throw, though.
Accepted. Dan Godbold's in the green on this near side.
Back into the hands of Warnock. Warnock leads. Nice grab there. Ellis Cockcroft gets horizontal. Sam Cameron fires across and too high. And another one.
Parnell felt like he misjudged that one a little bit. Yeah, this is what we mentioned. If you're trying to swing towards the far side when you're attacking that left-hand end zone, that flick into the wind, a fair few have come a cropper today.
Mackey to Henriksen. Back inside to Mackey. Mackey, uh-oh, he's overcooked it and knocked away, but oh my goodness, that one comes floating back in. Gregor Stewart in one of the most improbable goals I've ever seen.
Just how they drew it up, Steph. Look, Bristol will feel mighty aggrieved that the throw towards that far side was always dicey. Sweeney can't get it gets blocked, but it doesn't matter anyway because, as you mentioned, Gregor Stewart tracked it so well, recognized that, hang on a minute, I'm still very much in the game here, and waited for that edge to take it back in bounds, and was so happy to collect it. Warnock's hard work undone. You see, he just tries to slap it out with that right hand in this wind. If you don't catch your D's, that's the sort of thing that can happen.
That is it. You feel safe enough on a sideline with a smack away, but with a wind like this, blowing it back in, there was enough spin on that disc. Didn't go head over heels on that one, and just painful for Warnock to see that one float back in. And a 1 point difference now as Alba win the marathon point.
Yeah, that could be huge for Alba if Bristol score. And remember, they had the disc right on the goal line picking up. Couldn't have asked for better field position to score. Couldn't make it work. They get punished in the most brutal fashion. If Alba come back to win, this is the point we'll look back on.
Most certainly, Benji. Wow. Wind getting stronger still as this game presses on. Mason. And you're definitely going to see fresh sevens on both sides after that point.
At the very least for Bristol's D-line, they put a lot of miles in the Alba legs.
Oyama tries to test the mark, goes back to Gatewood Wolf, and Oyama again. The around backhand hits, and Zarad collects to stretch back out to a 2-goal lead, 13-11.
That's devastating for Alba. You work so hard, you get it in, and then Bristol just kind of walk it down without necessarily too much trouble, and all of a sudden that O-line that was out there for so long on the last point is straight back active again. Bristol, you can get a fresh 7 out there for D, give those previous players a break.
Yeah, you said
that war of attrition maybe that Bristol are able to come out on top here with a longer roster this week.
You know, you said we might look back to that marathon point that Alba did win.
I said might.
Might, you did, but immediately negated because of that very next point. The Bristol, that is exactly what they needed to do to negate the momentum that goes with winning the marathons. Coming back and you know, putting that O-line back out, 20 seconds, after, even including breaks between pulls, maybe 1 minute. And you see the likes of Cameron Mackey, Stuart Jinks, but that whole O-line, McNeil, they're all right back out there, and they've got to be gassed still.
Yeah, you certainly feel like it. The other games, by the way, in this game round, Chevron and Clapham both finished off big victories over Kapow and Leeds, respectively. Smog have a 13-8 lead on Smash D, so it looks like the Northerners have a firm grip on the second spot in that pool.
Mackey Test the mark. There was a missed defensive switch there, but the handlers were not looking upfield when there was some spacing. Now Jinx throws into a very tight window on the up line, but gets Delaney, and we've got a violation as Mickael collects. It's going to come all the way back to Jinx.
Yeah, we're going to mention as well that the next round of women's divisions games has started. Iceni with an 8-3 halftime lead on Smog, so they clearly have bounced back from defeat at the qualifier. Bristol and Spice are at Galaxy Point, 7 apiece. Woo! To see who comes top of that pool.
Thanks for the updates, Benj. Jinx hammers, looking for McNeil, and it's not going to work. He gave himself a chance, but not enough of one. The throw was overcooked and gave the defense way too much of a look. Dom Knight did what he needed to break it up. Sam Cam dancing, but the throw went for the zig while Cameron went for the zag. And Henriksen comes under in the middle with a little bit of room. Stewart fires into the middle. Hits, and the around to Delaney. And Sam Cam runs right through, takes that one away from Jinx. No call from Jinx. Sam Cameron almost expecting it there for a second.
Yeah, I think there must have been a little bit of contact in there, but deciding that it wasn't, didn't have any effect on the play. Incidental, that's the word I was looking for. Incidental.
Knight on the pickup to Warnock. Warnock goes to Cameron. Two-hand clap on the far sideline. Quick zip up the line. DeGhetto sends, and that's going to go out of bounds. Way out of bounds.
That ain't it, Chief.
Into the hockey fields.
Haven't really seen too much of DeGhetto with disc in hand in the game, and I think it showed on that occasion because clearly did not have the measure of the wind on that one. As soon as it went up, you knew there was one place it was going, and
it's not where we're playing Ultimate.
No. I mean, it might have stayed on the field, but not the Frisbee fields, more the hockey ones.
Henriksen, McNeil. Far sideline now to Evans and right back in. McNeil to Stewart and put to turf. Picked up quick. Knight sends deep. Mickael in between a couple red jerseys, and they all went up early instead of testing the chase.
Mickael did enough. Ellis, yeah, was suckered in and got way too underneath it.
Here comes Alba. Couple long points going here.
Yeah, there's the cap horn, so we'll finish this point, add one to the high score, and that'll be our finish point. So it'll be 14-11 game to 15 or 13-12 game to 14.
Ooh, bid there, but stays in possession for Alba. Stewart crosses to Delaney. Shows the hammer, but then just centering backhand to Mickael, who really threads the needle there, finding a lane. McNeil to Henriksen. Henriksen jacks it deep. Jinx versus Cameron. Jinx has it red. 12-13, game to 14, Benj. We got a tight one here, but still advantage Rats.
Delivered on a silver platter and the cloche removed. Jinx collects exactly what Alba needed. Bristol forcing so much pressure in that own end zone, but they held firm, were able to keep swinging it till they found the space downfield. And then Henriksen sees the one-on-one matchup, backs his compatriot Jinx, and they get the better of the Canadian Cameron. Not a huge amount of separation in this. Cameron's right on his shoulder, but just that outside in edge takes it over his head and back into Jinx's path. So 13-12, game to 14. If Alba score, it's game over. If Alba can break, it's universe.
Universe?
If Alba can break.
Just one break and we could get universe bench? I know what I'm barracking for.
I have no strong feelings one way or the other. Looks like Alba have taken the opportunity to take a timeout here. Or maybe not. I think they're just getting everyone in that huddle, trying to keep everyone involved and engaged in the game.
Yeah, using every second of the in-between points timing.
If you're Alba, how do you play this? Because obviously you know that you have to score. If you get scored on, that's it, game over. But you want to keep. Do you want to keep your best players fresh for universe? Do you
No.
think them out now?
No, you play everything for this point. You can't save it for universe if universe won't happen. I think I would be playing a very aggressive under game. Force Bristol to take the risky throw on universe point when their pressure's on. And throwing bodies liberally right now, letting them feel the pressure. Let's see how they respond. Allen with the disc. To Gatewood. Wolf goes to Allen. And Bristol in the red zone. Quick! And thrown away by Allen. Chance now for Alba to tie. Mackey. Goes around. Peters sends the big ball. Floating. The chase is on. The race is won. Is he in? Not yet. Hodes has to retract back. Puts it into play on the line. Turns, throws a blade, and throws it away. What kind of a throw option was that? Hodes did all the work on the chase. There's a stall count being called, which, if that's the case, I think it was a very quick count.
If that's a stall out, then obviously someone's played the song of double time, because there's no way that's 10 seconds. Not even close.
No chance that was 10 seconds. And that kind of explains why that throw choice comes out if he's hearing 7, 8, 9, 10 that quickly, because to me that seemed midway through a stall count.
And it might well be a fast count. He might well have wished he called a fast count. He might be happy with that if that's been the pace at which everyone's been stalling all game. But once you've thrown it away, you can't then say, well, actually, turnover stands. In the end, they do just take it back to the stall out.
Gatewood Wolf, and we've got a violation or a foul, it looks like.
Bit of a push off there, a slight arm bar.
Thanks for all of you in the chats, your colorful comments. Make sure you hit that like button. Here comes Bristol. The up line hits to Warnick. High floaty, and Allen does a great job to keep that one in Bristol possession. The around throw is behind, and another chance for Alba to take us to universe. Can they hold their medal? Sweetie overshoots, but the backup plans there, maybe not overshot. Now Mackey leads into a small space. Lawrence with the disc, straight into Hodes. We're going to universe.
Bristol beginning to crack under this Alba pressure. Both times they met in Sterling, Bristol eked it out on universe, and they're going to have to do the same here if they are to take that semi-final spot. Alba had it all to do in the second half. 3 points down going into the interval. They got broken again after half, and it felt at that point they were nearly dead and buried. but they've been able to claw and scratch their way back into this game, fight it all the way level, and all of a sudden we've gone to Universe, the only game in this round still ongoing. It's the first time the sides have been level since 4-4.
Wow, what a game. What a strong second half for Alba. A never say die collective attitude.
Let's go, Bristol!
A don't let them win.
Alba have had the lead for precisely 1 point so far this contest when it was 2-1, and that's it. What a time it would be to find it again.
An absolute robbery for Bristol if Alba are able to pull the carpet out from under right now.
And Bristol have shown this season that they can get it done in the clutch, but in the past that was the reputation the Rats had, that they had the ability to lose their way out of Euros. They've done it on a couple of occasions. Not Euros on the line, but even bigger Worlds if they can't hold firm.
Deep shot goes, looking for Allen, knocked away! Alba with a chance to break. They've got a long way to go.
Understand you want Allen going deep, but if you're going to get that wrong, I think you've got to over rather than underthrow it. Put it in the position where the only person who has a chance of getting it is Allen.
Wow. Mickael going to pick up for Alba. A chance to steal this point, and if so, the game from Bristol, who had been so tidy in the first half and in front all game long, short of the 1 point mentioned by Benj. They find a way through. Stewart then gets meters to McNeil, caught at the midway. Evans surveys, there's a bit on the hip, but connects with Stewart. Stewart jacks it deep into the end zone, but it falls short, hits the ground, and Bristol will live to see at least one more possession.
I don't think that throw needed to go. Having said that, there clearly was some steps, but it's far too vertical. It's going to blade too quickly and thunk into the floor. Didn't get enough of a step out and flatten lead it into space. Just tried to wrench that blade. It's not the one.
Oh, what a game. Mason brings that disc to the sideline. Third possession, Universe point. Mason crosses the goal line slowly but effectively. Now into the middle, Warnick to Gatewood Wolf. Playing from their own end, they get some meters. Great catch by Warnick to keep the possession alive. Nice over-the-shoulder forehand. Gatewood Wolf all the way through to Bradshaw. Ellis Cockcroft back to Bradshaw. Bradshaw hits Warnick. And Bristol have taken it to the midway mark once again. Now to Mason. Ellis Cockcroft catches it behind the back, throws low, and Allen gets down for it. Allen leads, Cam leads it in for the goal. Ellis Cockcroft collects, and Bristol evade disaster, taking it to Universe, but finding their way in. What a game. Bristol take the win.
As the second half ticked on, it felt like the Rats were fleeing the sinking ship, but somehow they've emerged on dry land. And the Rats, with the very tip of their tails, the skin of their teeth, have hung on here against Alba, who fought back so bravely when it seemed like it was done and dusted. They found a way to bring it to Universe, and then Bristol, as they had done in the 2 meetings at Summer Tour, get the job done on Universe.
What a game. Taking it to that grab by Allen. Big time players making big time plays. Sam Cameron, how quick did he deliver that one to finish it off? And Bristol stay undefeated. So they'll be able to test for the top of the table, top of their pool when they face Chevy later today. Alba's dreams for WUCC crushed with that point against, and that loss leaves them at 0-2. They'll have to see if they can find one win against Kapow, but no real chance now to advance.
You got to pick yourself up, dust yourself down, play for 5th. You never know. Countries decline world spot. It does happen, and while 5th is the best you can come, we've seen 5 teams from the UK qualify, admittedly not in the open division, but it's happened before, and you've just got to pick yourself up and hope that you finish the weekend as strongly as you can.
Play the next game. For now, thank you all for joining us. Make sure you hit that like button. Go ahead and subscribe. We'll love you all for it. We've had a wonderful time for the whole ULTI.TV crew and for Benji Reese alongside. I've been Stefan Rapazzo. Thanks so much for joining us. We will catch you all next time.
Try to fix it. I try to picture someone else but you. But then you kissed me, and now there's nothing else I wanna do. For the record, I never thought it would be you and me. You said tomorrow. Let's see what happens, but it's plain to see. And tonight we're like fire and ice. I'm burning all over, and we're starting a riot tonight. Don't want this to be over. Any second we're all burned down. If we stay here, we'll probably drown.
Thanks.
Yeah, ultimate.
ULTI.TV.
I try to fix it. I try to picture someone else but you.